Hey everybody, Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. I'm
Tanner.
This is
Nick Simon.
I like the sound effect. I think it sounds awesome.
This one sounds even better. I think this is what a squirrel sounds like when he's sitting in a tree going. Just sit there just looking at you like. Telling every deer, run! Run! Run for the hills! There's a hunter over here! That's what they do.
And I want to be like, you know what, squirrel? You need to beat it before I launch one of these arrows in your suckhole.
Whatever.
I think we keep all that in there.
Sure.
Okay, Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
I think we keep what I just did in. I think it sounded good.
Yeah, we'll keep it in there.
Good. Keeping it in.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what squirrels sound like. Okay. Since tis the season of what the subject of the podcast today, I got to get my phone out because I've got notes. We are talking about having fun in hunting camp because I think that seems like during the bow season, most times pretty serious. Not a lot of joking around happening.
Too serious.
Yeah, you're getting down to business.
Yeah.
Right? In a previous life, I used to be a hunting guide, and I did that in Colorado. And we, had guys come during all different parts of the season. And for whatever reason, bow hunting, a lot of guys are pretty serious. And in the Midwest, bow hunting is the same way. But for whatever reason, I always felt like by the time we got to the rifle seasons and the gun seasons in Colorado, or even the gun seasons in the Midwest, it's like you just want to kind of kick back a little bit more. And one thing I do think is the difference between like bow hunting and gun hunting is I feel like there's a lot more room for camaraderie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of camaraderie in bow hunting too. Like if you have an opportunity to harvest something and you call your buddies and you all go out there and find it and drag it out and, celebrate. Yeah. But it feels like there's a lot more of that downtime and or kind of just cutting up during gun hunting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether that's, walking out of the field, walking in, or at night or in the morning or whatever that might be. So what we're going to be talking about today is just having fun. I've got a whole big list of things you can do to make hunting a little bit more fun. These are things that I've personally been involved in, other ones that I've been told, and other ones that I've just imagined that I think, this is totally something you could get somebody on. And we're going to kind of rate them based on what is fun and or on the one end, it's going to be really funny. And on the other end, what may get you in a fight. Right? So it's the two Fs, fun or a fight.
Yeah.
I think the determination of the fun or the fight, and I think we should probably mention this right at the beginning, when it comes to all these pranks and these jokes and funny things, I think you really have to look at your audience.
Right.
And or who your buddies are. Sometimes like normal pranks on a really serious guy can be extra funny for everybody else except for that guy. So it can be both sometimes. It could be really funny, and then it could get you in a fight. Yeah. But those are kind of the best ones to do it is the guy that is going to not think it's funny because then it's really, really funny for everybody else. But so we're going to go through them, and then I think we'll just kind of talk about whether we think it's funny or a fight. Some of them are definitely a fight. And that's what I think my disclaimer is before you do any of these, think about who your buddies are. Think about if they're going to laugh or they're going to try to punch you.
Right.
In my experience, most of the time, it's all just funny. Sometimes it's gotten a little heated, but it's all mostly pretty funny.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. So some of these are just kind of ridiculous, stupid ones, but I think they're awesome. I did this one a lot when I used to guide. It's the old fork in the trail. And all you got to do for that one is when you're at hunting camp or you're at your house, you're at a gas station, you're at Casey's, you're at Quick Start, whatever, just grab a plastic fork. Take it out of the wrapper, stick it in your back pocket. When you're out walking down the trail, just distract your hunting buddy, whoever you're with. You're a hunting guide, you got a client with you. Just, hey, man, check that out. And just take and throw the fork down in front of you. And then just kind of stand there like really awkwardly, like, man, gosh, I don't know which way to go. Like, I don't know what we should do. And after a while, they'll be like, well, what do you mean? What's wrong? I'll be like, oh, dude, there's a fork in the trail. And then they're going to look down and see the fork.
Classic.
That's a classic one.
That's a classic one.
Yep. That one will get you a laugh every time.
Never fails, huh?
Yep. I'm telling you, some of these are really, really stupid.
Yeah.
But for me, it really worked good when you had guys that were super serious, that were just like, you could tell they had a total game face on. And it's like, man, you like day after day, you kind of feel like you got to find a way to have some fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's always a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to come and jump around. I'm gonna go, well, no, I'll just go right in order. So from there, this one is a great one for if you've got a rookie. You got a rookie in camp. You got some young kids.
Yeah.
This is a great one. You've got a wife or a girlfriend or a coworker that's going on a hunting trip or that just doesn't know. This is a great one. And this would be called snipe hunting. Okay? So basically the idea behind snipe hunting is you just make up this whole thing about these little animals. It's kind of like a rabbit or kind of like a mouse or like a raccoon. You could say whatever you think it is, but it's a small little animal, and they only come out at night. And you tell them that they're really attracted to light. So the idea is you get everybody else in on it, okay? And, generally if you're at a hunting camp, there's probably some sort of like little gravel road or something there you can pick up some rocks. Everybody gets a couple rocks, puts them in their pocket. Well, you spread out and you tell the guy, hey, or the gal, whoever, you say, hey, listen, here's the deal. So you can basically kind of push these snipe towards you, and we'll basically set up like a drive. We'll all get out here and we'll kind of push the snipe towards you. Well, the person that's the rookie that doesn't know what's going on, you have to explain that they have to hold a pillowcase right down between their legs, kind of squatted down at the ground, okay? And then they take a flashlight and you shine the flashlight right inside the pillowcase, right in the front of it. And then when you go on this snipe drive, the snipe start running. Well, they don't know where to go, but they're attracted to the light.
Yeah.
And so then they run right to the pillowcase. And once they run in, then you close it, and then you got one. And so as you do this, everybody spreads out, and you start the snipe drive. Well, then you take the rocks out of your pocket, you start to throw them kind of in the grass or the woods or wherever you are.
Yeah.
Well, the person that's got the pillowcase, they hear the snipes coming. They're like, oh, I heard one. You know what I mean? And they just they're like, oh, I saw one over here, And so everybody's talking about it, and you just keep it going as long as you can. Sometimes you can do snipe hunting multiple nights, right? You can keep the joke going for multiple days.
Yeah.
That's even better. Say, hey, listen, there's just it's the moon tonight. It's not a cloudy night.
Yeah.
I don't like to come out on full moon. We got to wait for a cloudy night. Tomorrow's going to be better.
Yeah.
So you can snipe hunt for multiple nights, or you can just let the rabbit out of the bag right away. But I would go for more because it's way funner.
Yeah.
But yeah, snipe hunting is fun. And then it's really fun when the person that's holding the pillowcase thinks they saw one or thinks they heard them.
Oh, yeah.
They really get into it.
Yeah.
So snipe hunting, that is a really good one.
Another classic.
Yeah, yeah. You actually have a pretty good one too. That this one is one that the snipe hunting is more for fun. You're not going to probably get in a fight over that. And the fork in the road's pretty funny. This one could get you in a bit of a fight if you're not careful, especially with a group of men. Right? Thermostat is a sacred oath.
Yeah.
In most people's houses, right? Like the only person that touched thermostat is the husband or the dad.
Yeah.
Nobody touched thermostat. It's set at a certain temp and never gets dealt with. But you had an idea, or it happened to you guys where kind of on accident, but this could be a pretty funny one.
Yeah, we every year we go on an ice fishing trip, and we stay at the same cabin. My dad and his buddies and my uncles, they've been going for over 20 years. They've been going to the exact same place. And before I was going, there was a night where one of the guys took the thermostat. It was like the thermostat was on like a remote.
Yep.
And they took the thermostat and put the heat like way up, like extremely high. Well, and then the guy lost the remote.
He turned it to like 90.
Yeah, like super high.
Yeah, way too hot.
Yeah. And but then he lost the remote and they didn't find it.
Oh,
They couldn't find it for the rest of the trip.
there you go.
And so then, of course, they go to the same spot every single year.
Yep.
And they came back the next year and the thermostat remote was chained to the wall.
Oh.
So nobody would screw with it or lose it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've actually done that like in a just like in a hunting camp where we were staying in cabins with like wood burners. That's another great one.
Yeah.
That's more of the traditional thermostat.
Yeah.
Right before they go to bed, like when they run back into the main cabin or something, go in there and put like a bunch of wood in their wood burner.
Stoke that thing.
Just stoke it.
Yeah.
And they won't notice it at first. Make sure you close the door just to what they had it at.
Yeah.
And then like an hour later, you're just going to hear them just cussing.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to be like opening the door of the wall tent or opening the cabin door, just trying to air it out because it gets so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always a trick. That's a pretty good one too. Yeah. Like I said, to go back to that snipe hunting, we did that to a couple different people.
Yeah.
And the first time we just told the person like right away. The next one we did it like multiple nights. Yeah. Snipe hunting is always a good one. And I love the thermostat one too. Along those same lines of the thermostat one, this is one that I actually did a lot when we guided. If we had a group of guys that all knew each other, seems like if there's a group of guys that come on a hunting trip, there's always one guy that's like super Mr. like anal retentive by the book.
Yeah.
Mr. Responsible, go to bed early. First one up, he's already got a half a gallon of coffee down before everybody else is out of bed. So what we would always do to that guy is he would always there seemed like there's always a guy that would go to bed early, and a lot of us would look at each other like, we knew it was him. And you can go through, if you're staying in a hotel, it's pretty easy because there's only a couple. But if you're staying in like a cabin or a house or whatever, we would go through and change all the clocks. And you can even take it a step further. You can all put your hunting clothes on. Yeah. So some guys you could tell that you could just get them on the clock, but other guys we would go a step further. We put our hunting clothes on, and you literally like let them sleep for like an hour, and everybody's getting ready to go to bed. We're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So we go around and change all the clocks. We all just put on like our pants or our jacket or our boots on, and like have our bow in our hand or have their guns, and then just run into that guy's room and be like, dude, wake up, you're late, let's go. And then he just like jumps out of bed, and at first he thinks you're joking, and then when he sees all your hunting clothes on, you're like, dude, seriously, we need to go. And oh my gosh, you want to see a guy run for the hills. It's funny because they usually run straight to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then again, or like look in the kitchen, look at the clock, and then they see it's like 5 a.m. They're like, what? I have my alarm set. You're like, dude, we're leaving. Like, we're in the truck. And oh, that is a good one.
Oh, that's classic. That's one that could start a fight. Anyway.
Yeah. That could start a fight. Every time we did it, it was always a bunch of laughs.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty good one. Let's see here. Man, going back to the one that I used to do a lot when we had guys that were serious, and this is just like really, really silly. And one of the other guys did it one time, and I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. I got to do this. You get some guys that like when you drive, you're like in the morning, and I'm not much of a morning person either. You're really not a morning person. You're like Mr. Quiet, and you get in the truck, and some of the places we'd hunt, it'd be like 45-minute drive. So you're driving and you're like on the highway, or you're on a gravel road, and it's like, you're just like looking down at the headlights. So every once in a while I would just stop like randomly on a gravel road for no reason. I would just completely stop, and I would kind of know where I had a radio station that had a song on, or if I heard a song on, I'd kind of like, okay, here we go, I'll do it now. I'd stop and I would just crank the music, turn my brights on, and just get out of the truck, walk around in front of the truck, and just start dancing like a mad person, like just break dancing. I'm a terrible dancer, and I would just like go absolutely crazy, and literally like I would just dance for a little bit, and then I just stop, and I would just go, and I would get back in the truck, and I would just act like nothing was wrong. I'd turn the music down, I'd put it in drive, and I would just keep going.
Not say a word.
And it was honestly a 50-50. Some guys would be like, not even say a word. They would just look at you like, what? And then other guys just really break up laughing.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man, we got to have some fun.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good one, to do in the truck.
Oh, yeah.
The other one you can do in a truck, that's always a classic. This seems like it always happens. You can do it in the morning, or you can do it, this is a midday, usually a good midday scare, is if you got people in the front seat and you got guys in the back seat, if they fall asleep, have the guy driving, or if you are driving, like slow down a bit so you're under control when I'm like driving off the road and crashing, but kind of like crank the wheel real hard or slam on the brakes and oh my gosh, and just watch the guy jump out of his skin. That's always a classic.
That's a good one for that doesn't even need to be hunting.
Yeah.
Just do that whenever.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Road trip, whatever.
We used to do that quite a bit on the consumer shows, because if you're in the passenger seat, you're the road dog.
Yeah,
you got to stay
exactly.
awake. You're NavComming.
Yeah.
You can't sleep.
Yeah,
you got to make sure we know where we're going. So if you sleep, you're up for grabs.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Slam on the brakes, honk the horn.
Especially during the graveyard shift.
Yep. I'll tell you what. So that's usually pretty funny. But you could take it to the fight level pretty easily. And I never did this, but I heard people do this, which was they would have guys fall asleep. And they would usually do this in the evening when they get done picking guys up. And you got to kind of have the right situation where you can drive by a truck stop or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they would go to a truck stop or a gas station along the highway or the interstate, and they would, with the people sleeping in the back, and they would pull in, and they would go, and they would drive up to a semi-truck that was parked, like in the big line with their lights on, and they would come up to it kind of slow, like real slow, like 5-10 miles an hour. But the people in the back, they didn't really realize you were slowing down as they were sleeping.
Yeah.
And then right when you get to the truck, you just kind of finally just, you slam on your brakes, and you just scream, "Oh my gosh, we're going to die." And the people just wake up, and they see the headlights. That's a really good one. The guy that told me that story said that the guys that they did that to were really mad.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, they saw their life flash before their eyes type deal. But
Fill their shorts, maybe.
didn't sleep the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Let me see here. What else do we got? Yeah, don't fall asleep in the truck. That's the moral of the story on that one. Oh man, this one I've seen get guys pretty mad. I should do this one to you. I've never done this one to you, but I should. But I think you would have a meltdown. Hide an important piece of gear. You would end up punching a tree.
I play that game on myself sometimes.
Yeah, that's
without knowing.
I know, yeah. But yeah, that's a really good one. Hide a piece of gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rangefinder, cell phone, license.
Yeah.
Something that they just need.
Yeah.
Like they need before they leave that they would make sure they had.
Yeah.
That's always a classic.
Yeah.
Hide something. Well, what do you mean? Well, what do you mean you lost your gun? Like, it was just here. Where did you put it? You know, like you lost your gun or whatever. You just hide bullets, hide your keys.
Yeah.
Cell phone is a classic. That's always fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad one too.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'll tell you what, I just thought of one as we're talking about this that I've done a few times, and I should actually do this one to you too. This would be pretty funny. If you're hunting with a friend that doesn't like the dark, I won't name the guy, but I had a buddy that used to be deathly afraid of the dark. Deathly. Like just did not like the dark.
Yeah.
And we were spring turkey hunting one time, and it was so dark out. I mean, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was dark.
Yeah.
And we were walking in really, really early with just like red lights. And you always got to have a little bit of distraction. So I was walking along, and I'm like, "Hey man, check that over there. Like, did you see that?" And you get him to turn around just for a split second. We were on a 2-track that was just nothing but straight ahead of us, right? All I had to do was just try to run straight. So I got him to turn around and look, and I turned my headlamp off, and I just took off running as fast as I could. I mean, I took off. And I probably got like 20, 30 yards away. And I kind of started getting nervous, like I'm going to run into something because I couldn't see nothing. I kind of like put my hands in front of my face like this and running. And then I just stopped, and I just kind of knelt down. And my buddy's like, at first he turned around and he had his headlamp on, but you can't see hardly anything.
Yeah.
And I was far enough away you couldn't see anything of me. At first he's like, "All right, man, come on." And then and I didn't say anything. And then it was 5-10 seconds later, "All right, this isn't funny. Come on, dude." And then it was like almost like whisper yelling.
Yeah.
And then it was, "I'm going to turn my normal light on. Where are you?" And he got like pretty upset. And then I finally turned the light on. Yeah. So that's a good one. Scare somebody in the dark.
You did that to me once. Kind of.
Yeah, when you were zoning out.
Yeah, when we were walking out.
I do remember that.
We were walking out in the dark.
I forgot about that.
He just turns around and yells.
He jumped out of his skin.
He's so stupid.
And you were scared to death.
Yeah, I was like, we were just walking back after hunting, and it was just pitch black out. I'm just walking. All of a sudden, Coral just turns around and yells in my face. I'm like, what?
Well, that's even I'm going into great detail about all these, but sometimes it's about the planning. You really got to plan, because what I did when I did that is I noticed as we were walking, I was walking along, and you were just like very much like tromping behind me.
Yeah.
And then I slowed down, and you slowed down. Then I sped up, and you sped up. I'm like, oh, he is totally zoning out. I'm like, this is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that leads me right into the next one. This is always a classic. And this one, you got to be a little bit careful. This isn't a good one. We're talking about doing these during gun season. This is probably not a gun season joke unless it's like at camp without guns in your hands. But the old hide behind a log, hide behind a tree or a bush and do the old jump out and snarl like a bear or a lion.
Yeah.
That's always a classic.
Yeah.
That will always get you a good laugh.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun one to make sure you got a cell phone ready, right? Where you got a buddy that's helping distract. You're like, hey, man, what's up? Like, yeah, did you see that? And then you got the other guy behind the bush.
Yeah.
That's always a good one. I'm going to pull that one on you sometime. I should have done that to you in Idaho or Montana.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah, that would have been so awesome. I'll tell you what, along the same lines, just make me thinking about Montana. This would have been a good one for Montana. This one, you have to get, it's better if you're like hunting with buddies or if you're hunting with an outfitter, and you got to get them in on it. The house is haunted trick. That's a good one.
Lance would have been all about that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he would have been. He would have been like, yes, sir, let's do it. So this one, basically, you just get a hold of whoever you're hunting with beforehand, and you say, hey, guys, listen, I got a buddy, Nick, that's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Elevator doesn't go to the top floor. We're going to tell him that the house is haunted. And then you conjure up this whole thing about how there was a murder or, it used to be like something really bad. You know what I mean? Like, we hear things, pots and pans fall down, like people have woken up and seen figures in the hallway. You're just like, no big deal. Like, it's okay. Like,
They're friendly.
We think one's name's Tom. You know what I mean? Like, you go through this whole thing. You conjure up this big story. And then you just wait. And you don't do anything the first night, not the second night. Maybe the second night or third night, maybe you move something.
Yeah.
That like was very much not where it was before. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of jig it a little bit. Then you go all in and in the middle of the night, you set an alarm. Again, fun to do with another person if they've got a phone. And do like the old stand over their bed and like nudge their bed so they wake up and you're just like standing there awkwardly. That's a good one. Or the old just scare them half to death.
Yeah.
Because they've got the whole, in the back of their mind, they're thinking this place is haunted.
Yeah, just yell.
Yell, do anything. Montana would have been perfect because that trailer was a little creepy.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly like 5-star.
No.
I mean, it worked just fine. Stayed in a lot worse.
Yeah, it was a great spot.
Yeah, it was great. But just like that would have been the perfect, this
Yeah.
is a haunted trailer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a good spot for that.
Yep. So that's a good one to do.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, these are gems. All right, let's keep on rolling here. What else do we got? I talked about breakdancing in front of the vehicle, stealing a piece of gear. Oh, man. Oh, this is another real funny one that I've done. No pun intended, but I usually pull this one out a couple times a season. Pee with your pants down. Just
That is true.
unsuspectingly, like, when you're a little kid and you go into the bathroom and there's that one kid that like, I don't know why, but he like pulls everything all the way down to his ankles. Just do that. Just go for it. Just go all the way. If you're near the road, that's even funnier. You know what I mean? You just don't even care. You just go all the way.
Yep.
And I do that a couple times. I did it to you during turkey season.
Yep.
I mean, face the other way. You know what I mean? We just keep it
Clearly.
Let's keep it PG.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Let's keep some stuff to the imagination. But full butt cheeks. You know what I mean? You want to see the whole shebang. Like what color underwear I was wearing that day. Like it's funny.
It is. It's classic. It's a classic joke.
It's classic. I'm telling you. I'll tell you the other one. I actually did this one in Montana. I did this to Ryan and Scott that one day. And again, I had to set this one up a little bit. The one I did there, I've never done this to you. But I did this to you in Idaho. That got a little serious. Take your shirt off.
I don't remember that.
with the drone.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
I'll tell that story next. But so again, distract your buddy, get him looking one way, and then or get off to the side or around a little bit of a corner, or hey, I got to go take a pee quick, whatever you got to do. And then just, and preferably if it's cold outside, that works out even better. Like normally where you've got like a couple layers on, and get off to the side and, just take your shirt off, everything off from the waist up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really funny. Sometimes you put your backpack back on, you know what I mean? So I took my shirt off and took everything off. And then I just walked back up to them like I was totally fine. Scott thought it was hilarious. Ryan felt
Really
he
awkward.
felt really uncomfortable. He thought Scott thought it was funny. I think Ryan wanted to fight me. He did not think it was funny. He was just like, he's like, I think he says like, put your shirt back on. I was like, okay, got it. Yeah, all right, okay. Oh, and then the other thing, sometimes this works out good because you're super distracted with the drone. I did that in Idaho. Nick was flying the drone, getting some awesome scenic shots, and I had to con Randy in on this trick because he helped distract you a bit. You were on the one side of the side-by on this 2-track with this big burnt that we're on, and then I got my bow out of the case somehow, and all big, Cameron Haynes fans, you know what I mean? So I grabbed my bow, and I just got down to my skivvies, right? I had my pants on
I think
at
so.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just took off running with the bow. I mean, I just figured just get some miles in, you know what I mean? So I just took off running.
I'm looking down at the screen. I'm like, got the drone set up to like angle down over this road. I'm going. And all of a sudden, out from under my screen, I just see Cole running without his shirt on. Actually, not running, a full tilt sprint.
Dude, this is full tilt Forrest Gump, like running out of the stadium. I was booking.
Like, what are you doing?
And then I doubled it because first I ran without my shirt on with my bow in my hand. Then I thought, you know what? Might as well take a pee. So then I just went for the full thing right there on the 2-track, which I think scared you even more.
Yeah, I'm like, what do I even do?
Dude, what you do is
Like, because we're done with drone shots.
yeah, you just laugh. That's what you do. You laugh.
I know, I was laughing. Me and Randy were laughing.
Oh, that was a good one.
Actually, me and Randy were laughing, and I remember I'm like, Randy, you got to tell me if he's done peeing or not, because like I'll find the drone. Like,
Yeah, you had to stay on the butt cheek side. You couldn't come all the way around.
I think I ended up just spinning the drone and just flying as far the other way as possible.
I think you did.
I'm gonna get some shots of these mountains.
Oh, so that's always a classic one, just, taking your shirt off, it's like,
It's classic.
it's like the old Will Ferrell, like, we're going streaking to the quad type thing, but keep it
Classic.
PG. And if there's the road nearby, that makes it even funnier because sometimes I've had people honk, sometimes you get people honking at you, you give them a wave,
yeah.
you never know. It just can get pretty out of hand. Okay. What else do we got? Oh man, this is a classic too. This takes a little bit of an investment, but it's not going to break you. And I've seen this done a lot for whatever reason. I see it on TikTok a lot with golfing. If you've got a buddy that's deathly afraid of snakes, do the old rubber snake that you can find at like pretty much any like
Yeah.
Fleet Farm or Big R. They'll have like a toy section. They've got some rubber snakes. Get a rubber snake and some fishing line. And, you're going to have to be a little strategic, but tie it onto a buddy's leg, tie it against his boot or something when he puts them on, and then he walks away, and then the snake is the end of the fishing line and just follows him around. That is a classic. Or snake on the floor, snake by his bed.
Yep.
Oh, man, those you got to be careful because if you catch the wrong guy, that can definitely be a fight.
That could be a fight.
Yeah. Funny for everybody else, but definitely a fight for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, I love that one. Oh, that was a good one.
Good thing I love snakes.
Oh, you hate snakes, dude. I'm going to have to do that one to you. Oh, that would be so awesome. And I could get you so bad too, dude. I would connect it to your tripod or something, and you wouldn't even know. That would be awesome. All right, what else do we got? I'll tell you what. This one I think could get you in a fight. I personally have never seen this one done, but I've seen videos of it done, and it's pretty hilarious. But again, it takes some planning. And man, I just feel like how expensive all this stuff is now. I just feel like this is probably like way out of line. But the old black shoe polish on the eye cup of their binoculars. Oh, baby. You know?
That's a fight.
Oh yeah, that's a fight for sure. Because you're gonna most of the time nowadays they're in bino cases, right? You've got it on a harness case. You pull them out and then you're gonna put them up, and you're gonna get the old raccoon eyes. That is gonna be a fight for sure.
Yeah.
And I would think that's hard to get off.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably ain't easy.
No. I mean, maybe what you do is you have an old pair of binoculars that's sitting around at the camp.
Swap them out.
Swap them out, or say, man, these are great binoculars. I've never seen such good glass. Which ones are these? Check these out. And then hand it to your buddy and already have it on there.
Yeah. Do the old Yankee swap.
Yeah, the old Yankee swap. That actually, thinking about the Yankee swap, that leads me to the one that I think you were going to mention. This is definitely a fun one when you're trying to video hunts. The old sandbagger.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic. The old come back to camp, how to go,
Oh, slow day.
or I missed one,
Yeah.
or we saw him but didn't get a shot at him.
Yeah.
But you want to see the video?
Boom.
Boom.
Or let's head out to the truck and go back to the spot and see if we got any blood. Oh, big buck laying in the back of the truck.
Yes. Or the other sandbagger trick that we used to joke around and do a lot is the old walk in with bloody hands.
Ooh.
That's a classic. How to go slow night. Then you walk in with bloody hands and everybody's like, whoa, hold on a second. Then they're running out the door.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Yep. Sandbagging it is always a fun one.
Can't beat the sandbag.
Yep. You're never going to get in a fight over that. That's going to be a definite funny high five and celebrating. That's a good one to do.
Yep.
Yep.
I actually kind of sandbag zipped when I shot my buck on film.
Oh, really?
I never told him. I didn't tell him that I had it on film.
Oh.
I just walked in, plopped the laptop down.
You 100% sandbagged it.
He lost his mind.
I bet he did.
Yeah. He knew I shot one though,
Okay.
but he didn't know I got it on film.
Yeah. I love that one. I think that's a great one.
That's a classic.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep moving on
I
here.
said that's a classic a lot.
That's a classic. The one thing I have been disappointed by with this, I thought you were going to laugh at my commentary of them as more, but you haven't made them seem very funny because you've kind of just sat there going like this. Classic. We should keep track of how many times you said classic. You've got to be up to 20 some.
I feel like some of me kind of got to be there though.
Yeah.
To like really laugh at it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying. I'm
All
sorry.
right. No, you're good. I mean, you're giving me a weird vibe, but it's okay.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Now I feel really awkward.
I'm just kidding with you. You're not being awkward. He is being awkward. All right. Okay. This one takes some planning. The next couple we're going to talk about, you have to be committed. This takes some commitment, some planning logistically. I've never pulled this one off. I think it's a great idea. Heard about it being pulled off. Haven't pulled it off myself, but this is a good one. The old trick your buddy into eating poop.
Jeez.
Scat.
This is another fight one, I think.
Yes, 100% a fight. But it's almost like the juice is worth the squeeze because you know you're going to laugh hysterically, and then you're probably going to get choked out. Arm bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a little serious.
Yeah.
But what you do is, again, heard through the grapevine from people that have pulled this one off, Cliff bars work really well. Cliff bars look a lot like, whether it be like
Chocolate, probably a chocolate Cliff bar.
Yes, like a chocolate. Yes, there you go. To be more specific,
Yeah.
a chocolate Cliff bar. You can make a chocolate Cliff bar look a lot like a deer scat. And in this situation, you kind of have to be a scatologist. You know what I mean? So, and it works good if you've got like, say, there's you and me, and then you've got another buddy.
Yeah.
You got to have one person in on it, right? So the way I was told to do it is if you have to, you have to get in some, so you got to kind of work into the conversation that, you can, you could tell fox scat from coyote scat, like really, really well. Like, you know what I mean? Or you could tell mule deer scat from whitetail scat, or like, or whatever. You just start talking about how you can really look at scat and know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And get your buddy that's not in on it you just really got to pester him about it.
Yeah.
Then what you do is you build into the conversation that, well, listen, I know scat so good that Like, and I do this in the woods all the time. I'll walk by deer scat and I'll kind of step on it. Like, oh, is it fresh? Is it shiny?
Right.
Like, does it look old? We were doing that a lot in Idaho. Like,
Yeah.
on a lot of elk scat. Like, you'd see fresh elk scat. You're like, oh, yeah, that's definitely fresh. Sometimes if we're not in a big hurry, you could even put your hand on it. You could almost feel like it's hot.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that's super fresh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or if it's like really cooled down, whatever. So you work into the conversation that you can tell how fresh it is by the taste of it. And if you could get your buddy that into it, that you know better than he does because you could taste it and he wouldn't be able to taste the difference.
Yeah.
That's what you really get him in on. But so that's part of it. But the other part is you got to make sure you have scat ready to go in some sort of spot, right? That you've already set this up and or know specifically where the Cliff Bar that you've made to look like a deer turd or whatever,
Yeah.
you know which one that is. If there's a whole handful there, you better know which one's yours. It's at, 4 o'clock or, it's at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock or wherever it is within the scat pile. You got to know.
Yeah.
And then you literally you get him in an argument and say, dude, I can tell just by tasting it. I'm telling you seriously. And you reach down and you just grab that specific piece and just chew her right up.
House it.
Just straight down the old gutter, just eat her right up. And if you can get a guy mad enough, you might get him to pick one up and just pop one in. And it's not going to be a Cliff Bar. And then it's where the fight starts.
Gonna be poop.
Yeah, it's going to be a little poopy. But if you could just get him to where you eat it and then he's looking at it and be like, what?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you leave it at that he thinks that you know that much about scat and that much about
you could
hunting,
become a legend.
you could take that on for a long time. Yep. So that's a really crazy one.
That could be a win-win for you.
Huh?
Could be a win-win for you.
Yeah, see, I thought about doing that one with Chet, but I know Chet too well.
He'd eat the poop.
He'd be out there eating all the poop in the
Yeah,
yard.
he would, for
oh,
sure.
dude, it would be terrible. It would be terrible.
Yeah.
You could do that one with a dog, right? You could take it out, but Tootsie Roll, make it look like a dog turd. A Snicker bar.
Yeah.
Lots of things. You could just be like, oh, my dog's sick. Why? Because I tasted their poop. So we need to get off this one. All right. So we're moving on. Hey, this is a good one. And I think this one's kind of funny. If you're hunting with a buddy, and this is one that you should put in your back pocket, or I should put in my back pocket for you or me or you or whatever, vice versa, sometime. The old take some cotton balls and stuff them up inside your grunt tube. That's a classic. Done this one with an elk bugle. Put a bunch of cotton balls in an elk bugle and gone out there. It happened to me. I tried to bugle with it. That didn't work out very good.
My luck is it would be like a really serious time where you actually really need it, probably.
See, but
Be a 150 out there and you try and grunt them in.
well, dude, you need to be more of a planner. So you could get all the cameras going. You could just be like, hey man, I want to get a clip of you grunting, and then just get me doing it, and then get my reaction on watching it not work.
True.
But it probably would happen where it was a decent buck, and my grunt tube wouldn't work.
Oh, that'd be bad.
But that's an easy one. I like that one. I think that one's pretty fun. I think that one you could get a lot of good buddies on.
Yeah.
And I think that's just going to end up being a laugh. Okay. I gotta get what else we got here? Oh man, these next two. Oh, these take some commitment. These take some commitment. This might be the end of my list. Let me see. Oh yeah, these are the last two. These are big. Oh no, I got 3 left. I'll tell. This is definitely for sure the one that's going to get you in a fight. And I say that because I watched guys do this to their friend, and I cannot believe they did it. And this is a fight. Oh man.
Gloves dropped, huh?
Yeah. This one is, it was, rifle elk hunting, and it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
You could really get this in the Midwest, especially during the gun seasons or during a cold snap in November. Guys, a lot of guys will leave their boots outside. They don't want to bring them inside. They don't want to get them scented up or whatever that might be. And this guy left his boots outside, and they filled his boots with water.
Oh, that's so bad.
They poured water in his boots.
Oh, that one's so bad.
Yeah, and they poured it in. At first, it kind of leaked out. Well, then eventually, it just kind of started like filling it, and they kept pouring it in. And he came out the next morning, and they were froze.
Yeah, that's a bad. That could almost cost you a hunt.
Well, And if it's, especially in the Midwest, have many guys wear rubber boots.
Yeah, easy to fill.
Buddy.
That's a bad one. That's probably the worst one, I think.
That guy was a super good sport, but he was mad.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember what he wore. I think he borrowed one of our boots.
Yeah.
Like even all of us were like,
Yikes.
geez. They were all laughing. They were
Shouldn't
laughing.
have done that one.
They were so laughing so hard.
That's a bad one. I think that one would tick me off so bad.
Well, and then what I know they talked about doing was they talked about peeing in them.
Yeah, that's too far.
I'm telling you,
It's crossing the line.
There's a fine line between having fun and fighting on these ones.
Yeah.
You got to toe the line on some of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. All right. So these next two, these are definitely more on the fun side, but you're going to have some help with your friends. Or you don't let anybody in on it and you're the only one that knows.
Team effort.
Yep. The old classic, fill your dopey container with root beer and then drink it.
Classic. That's a classic.
Yep. Now, this one can be executed in a bunch of different ways. Let's talk about how you do it first. The key to this one, and I say this from experience, is the best thing to do is to try to boil the container. Don't just, like our house, we have extremely hot water. Like I have our hot water turned up. So we can get it where it's like 3rd-degree burns. So I don't know if I would boil it or if I would just really, really rinse it good with dish soap.
Clean it, yeah.
But if you really want to get it so you're not going to taste dopey, boil it, right? Just boil it. Get it clean and then just boil it for a little bit and really get it cleaned out so it's all out of there. But then fill it with root beer. Root beer or any real pop for that matter looks very similar. Coke, anything that's brown looks a lot like dopey.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it logistically. If you can do this prior, or you can even just use a little container that you use for, that they know that you could write dopey on it, don't drink dopey or whatever. Yeah. That's how you get it going.
Yeah.
Some sort of pop, brown fluid. And then how you execute it, the one that I was involved in is we did it like we lost a bet, it's like, we were playing cards and then it was like one thing led to another. And it was like, can you hit the ping pong ball in the cup? And I'll bet you that if whoever loses has to drink the dopey, and then you just try to lose, or you try to win, and then shake on it that he's got to do it, and then make him squirt it down the hatch. You know what I mean? And just that is a classic one. And
then do it again with the guy that's getting joked on, but then actually put dopey in it. Swap out the bottle.
Then it turns into the fight very quickly. That's going to turn into a fight.
Yeah.
The other one along the same lines that you can just kind of execute differently is swap out his dopey with just root beer. Just dump it out and pour Dr. Pepper root beer in there and then let him go out and spray it into his spot. I've never done that one, but that's a good one too.
That one could honestly probably start a fight too.
Yeah. Especially because like when you drop some dopey or squirt it onto a scrape, like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't smell the greatest.
Yeah.
And if you did that and you're like, does that smell like root beer? I'm like, that would be awesome.
Oh, jeez.
The best part is your buddy's probably going to know exactly who did it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Always that one guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know. I just think it's fun to have fun, when you're at hunting camp.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of these just, like I said at the beginning, I think you have to be a little bit careful to make sure you're doing it to the right guy or the right gal.
Yep.
But I think for the most part, those can all be really, really good ones.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Got to keep it light.
Right,
Hunting's fun.
Let me look through my list here. I think we went through a bunch of good ones here. I think, like I said, I think the moral of the story is just try to have some fun, whatever that might be.
Yeah. Keep it light, man.
Keep it light. Just
hunting's a fun thing to do.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, I tell Jet that whenever we walk out and we don't get one, I'll never forget that. We might have talked about this on previous podcasts. We were actually hunting on that out, on the private piece. And walking up this 2-track. And I remember looking at Jet and going, well, Jet, sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't, and he's like, yeah. And I go, what's the most important thing, buddy? And he's like, well, we get to have fun and spend time together.
Yeah.
And we kept walking and you could tell he was just kind of mulling it over. He's like, well, it's like you said, Dad, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. He was just like trying not to cry, and I'm like, And I'm like, but we had fun, didn't we? Yep, we had fun. We had fun,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And-
like it all comes down to like who you, it's good to have a good group of guys that you hunt with. Like for me, after every hunt when I'm at home, I go down to Zips, talk about the hunt, and they talk about their hunt, and it's like if you don't see a deer that day, it's like who cares? You still hang out and tell good stories. You know, it don't matter.
Well, and it's funny because like all these some of these funny things and joking around, a lot of these hunts that I'm describing are from years and years ago.
Yeah.
And dude, I don't remember what we got that week.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember what they harvested. I don't remember like how a lot of that went, but I remember those things.
Oh yeah.
I remember the joking around. I remember the horsing around.
Mm-hmm.
I remember those types of things. That's the stuff that I remember from those hunts.
Yeah.
I don't remember like that specific morning or afternoon.
Yeah.
If we had an opportunity to shoot something, I remember that. But like a lot of what I remember is those things. What? Was that your nose? I think your nose hit that
No,
thing.
that was my hat.
Are you sure? We might have to do an instant replay. Slow-mo.
Instant replay. Go. Bing.
I'm pretty sure it was your hat. I mean, your nose.
It was my hat.
Oh, dude, it looked from
I was like
here.
this.
It looked straight on like your big old heifer nose. It was just like came in. I was
Jeez.
like, boom.
That was kind of aggressive.
Well, I'm just saying, you got a good sized nose. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you got a good sniffer.
Yeah, what do you do?
I don't know why heifer's got a big nose, but I just called you a heifer.
Old heifer. But no, yeah, I think it's really important to keep it light and have fun with it. I think it just lets you have a better mindset. If you're
Well-
always down in the dumps, like what fun is that?
Well,
No
yeah,
fun.
exactly. And I think like we talked about before we did this podcast today, I think it just comes down to the fact of there's more to it than just harvesting an animal.
Yeah.
And there's more to it when it comes, just like I said, the camaraderie of being together and cutting up and laughing and being with friends and family.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I just always like to try to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And again, we had to keep the list a little PG. There's some other ones that we could have talked about, but they get a little on the outside of things.
On the edge.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you that other the one funny one from that happened to me this year.
Happened to you this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That's a great story, actually.
Yeah. So I was in Alaska and we were coming back out, right? We were at we called it the main strip, right? Where a charter flight comes in to pick us back up.
Yeah.
And the clients go first and then we go second, you know what I mean? And so it was like that we were going to be the very last group of people coming out, but the hunters were going to go before us, the clients. So it's like, okay. And this guy comes in on this 207. It's a certain type of plane.
Yeah.
Like a little Cessna, not a little, but it's like a 4-person Cessna 207. Comes in.
Yeah.
And the pilot, it's kind of funny because he looks like a real rough guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys, they're just grinding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like flight, like as much as they can get in a day. And so when they get there, they're like, let's go, get your stuff, hand this to me. And they're very direct.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of learn right off the bat, like, okay, like just do what they say, stay out of their way.
Yeah.
Yes sir, no sir, how can I help you? Well, there was this one client that you could tell he was just like, I've been on this plane before. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, man. Like, but you're just trying to kind of shuffle him around the way you need him to be.
Yeah.
And the pilot was kind of gruff guy, and they're kind of all standing there. And we kind of told him beforehand, like, just listen to what he says and he'll load the packs first and then he'll get you guys in last. And he'll tell you where to sit depending on where he wants people.
Yeah.
He looks at the hunters and he goes, well, get in. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And so they go to get in. Well, on this 207, the wheels kind of sit kind of wider. And they're not Tundra tires. It was just like normal wheels that could land on like a gravel bar or grass or whatever. And on the wheel, there's a mud flap that hangs down to the front so nothing like kicks up, damages the plane, whatever it might be, because just the way that the terrain that they're in. So this guy, the guy was like, I know what I'm doing. He goes to get in the plane and he steps right on that mud flap. Well, there's very specific places where they do and don't want you to step.
Yeah.
And well, he didn't want you to step there. So the pilot right away, he's just like, hey, don't step there. And the guy, and he kind of stopped. He goes, well, get in. And after he told him, he said, don't step there. And he goes, but get in. And he kind of like go to step there again. And he goes, if you step there, I'm going to beat you with a dead porcupine. And the guy just looks at him like, whoa, and he's like, put your foot there, grab that and jump in. So he just kind of like, and we're like, good flight. See ya. And we're all kind of like, oh my gosh. So they finally get in the plane and they take off, and we just all bust out laughing. We're like, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's a great one.
So hours later, takes those guys, comes back to pick us up. Well, of course, I can't stand it. So we get in the plane finally, and he gets us on. He gets our headsets on, and you do like a little radio check. Hey, you guys hear me? Yep. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay, we got you. And he kind of like, he's like taxiing out to where he wants to start on the strip. And I just said, hey, man, I got to ask, like, that's awesome. I can't believe you said that. Like, beating him with a dead porcupine. He goes, better than a live one.
That is awesome.
That's so true.
It is. That's very true. But I love that. I love those quirky little things. Like, it's just so random.
I'm totally going to use that one. I should use that one on you. Beat you with a dead porcupine.
Yeah.
That could have come in handy a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
You look like you could have beat somebody with a dead porcupine that day you got mad at the tree.
I know, that tree was talking smack, man.
And then you hit it and you flicked it off.
He was talking smack to me.
That was the best. All right. Well, I say we wrap it up.
All right.
Good day. I like the podcast. Like I said, moral of the story, go out there and have some fun with your friends, with your hunting buddies. Take a listen to some of these.
Yeah.
I think there's some good ones in there.
Yeah.
Maybe spur on some ideas. If you guys have some ideas, comment, like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button.
Like button.
Smash it.
Yeah, sorry I didn't have much to offer. I'm not big into having a real hunt camp yet.
But see, the funny
Only
thing
a couple
is,
times.
The thing is part of the bad thing about this podcast too is I really open the playbook to all the things because I feel like I could really have done a lot of these on you.
Oh, 100%.
Even this season, some I've already have, or I could have done them more. So I really let the cat out of the bag.
It's all right.
I probably still will try.
Yeah,
Or
it'll probably
when we're
still
around
work.
other people, we'll try to do some of them.
Yeah. Maybe me and you can work as a team together.
Maybe. Dude, I'm telling you, you have to have wingman. You got to have another person in on the bamboozle here. You know what I mean?
Show season, baby.
Oh, dude, I actually thought one more good one. This is actually, we'll do this one at the shows for sure. This is a good one. Oh, man, we got people on this one all the time. I got the guys before on this one, too. You do the old, do you guys smell a gas leak? That's a good one. You're sitting there and you're just kind of slow, you know what I mean? And you've kind of been eating like consumer show food that's like greasy and milkshakes and, just like, Texas Roadhouse. Starts to add up.
Yeah.
And you usually get some pretty good farts. And you do the old, do you guys smell a gas leak? You drop a bomb and then you're like, do you guys smell that? And you're like, what? I'm like, man, I don't know. I smell a gas leak. And you're like, really? I think it's right down here. And you get them to lean down right into it. And they just get a big old whiff. That's a good one.
Game over.
Yep. The old, do you smell a gas leak? You could get zippy on that one.
I could get anybody on that one.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Easy.
You get Benson on that one. Benson.
Oh my God, Benson. Yep.
You get Charlie or Willie or Benny or Zip. Uncle, what's your uncle's name?
Adam.
Uncle Adam.
Johnny.
Uncle Johnny.
Walter.
Donnie.
The
funny thing is we're only talking about like 5 people. We've named like 8 different names. Hey, dude, I can't believe, podcast is not over. I can't believe we didn't talk about that. You want to talk about the best hunt camp thing? This is something that is totally a Wisconsin thing. And I can't believe you didn't bring this up. Let's go through all the nicknames that people in Wisconsin come up for each other. How many nicknames? Let's just go through it. Let's just go through Zip. Zip, his real name's Ben.
Yep.
Everybody calls him Zip. What else?
Zip. Benny, we call him Vincent. Willie. I think we just call him Willie, actually, now that I think about it. Charlie's got a lot.
Okay, what's Charlie's?
Lugnut, Luggy, Chaz, Chuck. That actually might be it.
Okay. What about your dad?
Walter and Donnie. His name is Chris.
Yeah.
Donnie Simonson.
Donnie Simonson.
That's a great story. AJ, we call him Adrian. And then they call me Binky.
Binky.
Yeah. Binks. Binky Banks. Hey, keeps it light.
Listen, hey, we're talking about having fun. Make up some nicknames.
Yeah, we got a lot of nicknames.
Dude, I call you Hot Mess.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I call you Hot Mess. That's pretty much the one I call you. Listen, my kids call you Baby Boy.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
One time I went over to his house for dinner. And the way Cole's house is, like, the dinner table's kind of right by the front door. And before I'm even up, like, the little steps to get in, I can hear all of his kids chanting, "Here comes the baby boy.
Here comes the baby boy. Here, and no, here's what it sounds like. Here's Vinny.
Here comes the baby boy. Here comes the baby boy.
Yeah. Even Rush, his 1-year-old, was just getting after it.
Oh, yeah,
too.
he's just going, ah. Yeah, he's just screaming.
Yeah, I'm like, this is
Oh, yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I love nicknames.
Yep. Hey, nicknames are a good thing for hunting camp. And I'll tell you what, I had never really experienced all that
Yeah.
until I just getting to know you. You guys have got some nicknames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie. Now they're going for Charlie's Chuckleberry. I like calling him Chuckleberry.
Oh, I think what you're going to have to do for this micro clip is you're just going to have to put up everybody's name and just have it fill the screen so that it's all the names of all the people.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know I'm missing some, I feel like.
Oh, I think you are too, because I thought you had a lot more for
Yeah.
Vincent. I thought you had a lot more for Willie, or Benny, I mean.
No, Willie's the one that I'm drawing a big blank on.
But I thought Benny you had a lot more. Man, I thought you had a lot more than Vincent.
Vincent's so funny.
The reasoning behind the names or how they come to existence is the most ridiculous part of all.
Binky mine, I don't even know how that happened.
Oh, that's funny. Susie's got nicknames for me here in the office, but they're not appropriate for the podcast.
I remember, like, right when I met you,
Yeah.
somebody told me, like, don't call him any nicknames.
Really?
Yeah.
Who
Like,
said?
I think it was... Who was at that first show? I
You?
can't remember. Somebody told me. Somebody's like, just don't. Because I think I called you CT right away or something.
Really?
Yeah. And I think somebody's like, just don't. Just call him Cole.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really, I don't know where that would come from.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because, like, even since then, I've never got that vibe from you.
No. Was it Jeff?
Could have been.
It was, who was there? Jeff, you,
Randy.
me, Randy. It
and-
might have been Randy.
Could have been Randy. Could have been. I can't remember, but I just remember because, like, I have you on my phone as CT, but I never call you it.
You have me in my, do you really?
Yes.
Oh.
CT.
You know what's funny about that is I actually have started to go by CT more often.
Yeah, every time we go somewhere, they're like, hey, can I get a name for your order? CT.
Because you know what? I don't know what it is about the name Cole, but that is a hard name for people when you're ordering. Hey, can I get a name? If I say Cole, they're like, what was that?
What?
They'll say Paul. And I'm like, no, Cole. And they'll say Colt, or
Yeah.
like one guy asked me how I spelled it. And I was like, Cole. And she's like, oh, okay. So then I just started doing CT, and that's been a lot easier.
One time I stopped at a place and they said, can I get a name for your thing? I said, Nick. And they went, Rick? I said, no, Nick. And she goes, Ted? I said, no, Nick. Just totally off.
Oh, that's
That's
funny.
funny.
Oh,
I was actually in Iowa last year.
Oh, really?
Yep. Iowa City.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know why they would have said, because but the funny thing is I don't really have many nicknames that I know of that people say to my face.
CT is the only one that I've ever thought of. There's
Yeah.
a couple more that I could call you, but no, like actual ones. Not like mean or anything. Not like mean or anything, but
Oh, that's funny.
'cause I love nicknames that are just way off.
Well, yeah, I figure I've gotten that vibe. Like, yeah, I've figured that out. Oh, that's funny. Well, and we did the nickname thing when we were in Montana. We were nicknaming elk. We had a Scott.
Yeah.
We had an Elrod.
Rod. Yeah. That's great.
That was awesome. And the funny thing is, I think those names have stuck because I'm pretty sure Lance and Ryan, they were texting you. That's texting like, oh, we haven't seen Scott. back," or,
yeah.
we're still looking for Elrod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The next clients that are come there and they see Elrod, they're gonna be like, what? Oh man, I don't remember what We had a client one time that came during spring turkey hunting. Man, that was so funny. This guy came in spring turkey, and it was early. It was like right away. And we were down on this river bottom. There was all these birds there. This Tom came in. It was with his bow. He shot at this turkey, and it was broadside, and it, you know, it was standing still, and he just really worked up, and he shot, and he missed it, but he cut off all but 3 tail feathers.
Jeez.
2 on the far left and 1 on the far right. I mean, dude, it couldn't have clipped him any more right by his butt, right?
Jeez.
Like if you've ever seen a turkey fan close up, like on the back, comes down their back and then, you know, their legs, and it's just kind of this piece that like of muscle and everything that goes like this. And then that's what helps flip it up. And then all their feathers go off of that.
Yeah.
It clipped them, dude, like surgical, like, whoop. Like when we picked them up, it looked like they just got pulled right out. They were so perfect.
Yeah.
And he ran off, and all the tail feathers are sitting there, and he's like, oh man, you know, and and I'm like, oh, it is what it is, you know, and like that was the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
And we gathered them all up and grabbed them and stuff, and we took them back or whatever. And and it's funny because it really wasn't much of the other ones, but it's just those tail feathers, the long ones. And I told him, I said, hey man, I'm just telling you, I don't even remember the guy's name, but I was like, I'm gonna have to call that Tom.
Yeah, whatever.
Your name.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Like he'll be super recognizable now.
Yeah.
Like if he's out there, you'll see him with his 3 tail feathers.
Oh yeah.
Well, sure enough, we saw him all the rest of spring. He'd be out there doing his thing, with 3 feathers, you know. And I kept telling all the guys, and it's funny, I couldn't get anybody else to shoot him. We had other guys that had him real close.
Yeah. Didn't want to shoot because of the fan.
Well, no, but here's the funny thing is I had the feathers.
Oh.
Yeah. So then when I forgot to say that, when the guy left, I said, do you want to take the feathers? He's like, no. He's like, if you end up shooting him, he's like, a taxidermist could put it all back together.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll keep them. So I put him in a Ziploc, and I had him. Like we had him at the house. I'm like, hey. And so I told guys like, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but if we're here and we see this 3-feathered tail fan guy, like his name is whatever, like let's shoot him. Like I got all the feathers. The guys were like, no. And we had a guy that came right in, like within range. And he's like, I'm not shooting that. And I'm like, oh, come on. And he's like, wouldn't do it. Right at the end of the season, actually, I could find the picture. I'll find it while we're talking here. I'll pull it up so you can laugh about it as I'm telling the rest of the story.
It's pretty fun when they actually kind of get screwed up like that because it's cool to like be able to pick them out.
Yeah, I think so.
That was Benson's bird last year. We called him Snaggletooth because he had a couple feathers missing.
There he is. So then this guy came in during shotgun season. Here's actually the picture. There he is right there.
Let's go.
So this bird comes in.
That's awesome.
This bird comes in, and these are Merriams, right? And they don't, Merriams, especially in the mountains, they don't usually weigh a lot. And this guy, he looked like a big bird, you know. I was like, geez, when he was coming in and stuff. Yeah. When we saw him close up those couple times. Well, it was the end of the season, and there was this big kind of dog leg of called these cottonwood trees and this river bottom behind it. And they would roost in these cottonwood trees, and we had blinds that we kind of had set up around the edge, and they would come out, and then they would mingle back to us in the morning, and then they would go back off into the woods. Well, that, for whatever reason, they were just, and it was getting to be late, and they were acting real finicky. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to double time these jokers. I'm going to go all the way around them and get on the backside in the river bottom, and they're going to go off into the fields, but then they're eventually going to come back. We're going to be sitting here. And sure enough, that's what they did. And I'm sitting there, and we're set up, and this Tom comes bebopping in, and you could just kind of see his head as he kind of walked in, and he came into like 10, 15 yards, never strut or anything, but like we could see was a Tom. You could see his beard, and I was like, take him whenever you're ready. And he just lopped him. And so, of course, me being how I am, I run up there and grab him real fast. You know, you don't let him get away or anything.
Yeah.
So I grabbed him, you know, and he was pretty out. Picked him up right away. I knew it was him. And I was freaking out. I was so excited. And I kept calling him, oh, it's what's his name? It's what's his name? And the guy was kind of upset.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was super disappointed. Because he's like, oh, gosh. He's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, dude, I got all the feathers. I got all of them. I have every single one.
Yeah.
And we did. We laid it out, and we had all of them.
Yeah.
And I just told him, I said, just take it to your taxidermist. It'll actually make for a heck of a story.
Yeah.
Like, and it took a lot of convincing. But, and then I called the guy that wounded or, you know, chopped off all the feathers. Like, we killed him. And And then later that year, that fall, he ended up getting it mounted, or like having he just had like a wall mount, a shoulder mount with the fan.
Yep.
And he texted me and called me. He's like, all right, man, I'm actually pretty happy about that. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah,
and it was really neat
It's
that
sweet.
we got it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you can always come up with fun nicknames for animals too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap it up. Good podcast.
Good pod.
Number 32, Shaquille O'Neal podcast in honor of Shaquille O'Neal, number 32.
Book it.
He was the man.
Book it.
End of the podcast. Hey, thanks for watching. Cole Tanner,
Nick Simon,
Ozonics Killerwinds podcast,
a.k.a. Binky.
a.k.a. Binky, a.k.a. he's got 27 nicknames for all of his family and friends. Over and out.
Book it. See you next week.
Oh.
See you next week.
See you next week. Stay classy.